After the cold and aloof female CEO went blind, I walked around shirtless in front of her every day. Sometimes I didn't wear anything at all. The woman sat calmly and silently on the sofa. Her earlobes would always turn red. Sometimes she'd even get random nosebleeds. Until one day she backed me into a corner. "Hubby, I really can't hold back anymore." I was guided into a novel and became a top-rich second gen, but in the end, I still became the stepping stone of the main character, to avoid the tragic fate of a simp with a ruined family. I decisively chose to team up with the blind villainess Leng Linger. Facing my relentless pursuit of love, the CEO who only wanted revenge had to agree to marry me, just to stop my clinginess and satisfy my various quirky desires. After receiving the original host memories, I was left speechless. But fortunately, during the transmigration, I awakened the universal love transmission system. As long as I spread love, I could exchange it for various self-protection items. Once I figured things out, I had a plan. Among the villains in this novel, I was just a minor character. The real boss was a blind woman. In the end, she even killed the female lead. Only the male lead was left standing. He finally said something about friendship and not letting down his companions, then perished together with her. The memories of Leng Linger and the Leng family flooded into my mind. Back then, the Leng family was incredibly powerful, and the Jiu family I belonged to was a top family in Jianghai City. But 5 years ago, a mysterious massacre nearly wiped out the Leng family. With such deep hatred, Leng Linger turned into a cold-blooded villain bent on revenge. Thinking of this, I smiled slightly. As long as I cling to the final boss now, at the very least, I'll make it to the end, and I can complete the tasks from the pure love system. So I immediately called my mom. I remember Grandpa arranged a childhood engagement between me and the Leng family, right? I figured I'm not that young anymore, so I wanted to give it a try and get along with her. As soon as I finished speaking, Sumaran exclaimed in surprise, "Son, what did you say? You don't want Shen anymore?" My words just now really shocked my mom, because the original host had insisted he would only marry Shen, and even had a big fight with his parents over it. Now I firmly explained, "Mom, Shen doesn't like me. Why should I keep forcing it? It's better to settle down and build a career early. So, could you maybe talk to the Leng family?" Hearing that, my mom excitedly held her phone, patted her chest, and readily agreed. "Don't worry, son. Since your grandpa arranged the engagement, it's only natural for us to propose the marriage." After the call ended, Sumaran excitedly ran to my dad and said, "Charming. It's great. Our son finally gave up on Shen. Do you remember the engagement the old man made with the Leng family?" But hearing this, Jiu Qiaming was completely dumbfounded. "Crap, the one from the Leng family. She's blind." Sumarong panicked too upon realizing this. "No way. Our son just let go of one crazy one, and now he's on to someone disabled." Jiu Qiaming sighed, "Forget it. With that kid's personality, if he knows she's blind, he definitely won't agree to the marriage. We'll just give the Leng family some compensation later." 3 days later at the Leng residence, a woman with closed eyes sat in front of a desk. Her whole aura was elegant and serene. Although she couldn't see the colors of the world, her beauty remained unaffected. This was Leng Linger, the eldest daughter of the Leng family. To make her enemies hiding in the dark let down their guard, she went so far as to blind herself and become a waste. 5 years. I can't believe 5 years have already passed. As Leng Linger muttered to herself, a girl with dyed yellow hair burst into the room. Leng Linger didn't even have to think to know who it was. She calmly continued feeling the pages of her book and asked without turning her head, "Ling'er? What is it?" Leng Linger is the second daughter of the Leng family, and also Leng Xingqiu's younger sister. But when she entered the study and saw Leng Linger, her initially furious expression instantly softened. "Sister, the Jiu family has gone too far." Leng Linger let out a sigh. "What about the Jiu family? They shouldn't have anything to do with a small family like us anymore." After saying that, a murderous intent filled her heart. Even though the Jiu family had no evidence proving their involvement back then, They were still on Leng Qingqi's list of suspects. Leng Linger didn't notice her sister's shift in aura. She sighed helplessly and said, "That's the thing, we are involved now. The Jiu family arranged a childhood engagement with Grandma back then, and now the Jiu family's young master is coming to talk about the marriage, and the bride-to-be is you, sister." As soon as the words fell, Leng Qingqi fell silent. Things have changed now. The Leng family is no longer what it once was. Next to her, Ling'er pouted, "Unhappy sis. I don't want you to get married. You're the only sister I have." Listening to Leng Linger beside her, Leng Qingqi chuckled. "Don't cry anymore. The young master of the Jiu family isn't coming to marry me at all. If I'm not mistaken, that so-called young master of the Jiu family is coming to cancel the engagement." After speaking, Leng Qingqi felt calm. Ever since blinding herself after the family tragedy, she had given up on love. She understood that revenge was the only path left for her in this life. Meanwhile, Leng Linger didn't take the news well either. "So he's here to break off the engagement. How dare that trashy male reject us like that?" Hearing that, Leng Qingqi sighed helplessly. "Enough. Go wait downstairs for now. We don't even know what kind of scene they'll make when they break it off." Meanwhile, in the reception room downstairs, the current head of the Leng family, Leng Shen, sat anxiously on the side sofa. He nervously swallowed hard. He looked at me uneasily, while I sat on the sofa with a bright smile. My eyes never stopped staring at Leng Qingqi across from me. "So this is the future final boss, huh? Even though she's blind now, it doesn't hide the aura she gives off like a high mountain flower. Truly stunning." Leng Qingqi smirked, her red lips graceful. "Young Master Jiu, I already know why you're here today at our Leng residence." In fact, Leng Qingqi had already guessed my reason for coming. The Jiu family is one of the top families in Jianghai, and their eldest son, Jiu Haoken, is a top-tier simp for the Shen family heiress. He came because of the childhood engagement, but it's obviously to cancel it, given all his past actions. He's likely doing this to win Shen Wen's favor. I was a little surprised at this moment. Didn't expect Mom to handle things so quickly. Word sure got around fast. And Leng Qingqi didn't even try to resist at all. All the arguments I prepared were useless now, so I just decided to be direct. Since Qingqi already knows why I'm here, then this will be easier to settle. I turned to the white-haired butler behind me and instructed, "Old Gao, bring it out." Leng Qingqi remained calm and indifferent. She had sworn long ago that she would live for revenge only. Whether the engagement ends or not, it wouldn't affect her mindset at all. Only Leng Linger looked angry. Even though this was the result she wanted, she still felt very annoyed. Just then, Old Gao brought out the documents. I picked up one of them and handed it to Leng Shen, sitting on the side sofa. "Master Leng, please take a look at this document." Leng Shen was stunned as he accepted the rather thick document. "Why is this break-off agreement so thick?" I placed the specially made document in front of Leng Qingqi and gently said, "Qingqi, I know you can't see, so I specially made this braille document for you." Leng Qingqi froze for a moment. The Jiu family's eldest son knew she was blind, and even went to great lengths to make a braille engagement withdrawal document. Then, without a word, she reached out her hand toward the document on the table, but the document was just slightly out of reach from her fingertips. Seeing this, I quickly reached out and held her hand, placing it directly onto the document. The moment our palms touched, I clearly felt a slight tremble. At the same time, a mechanical voice rang in my mind. "Contact with pure love target, points +1. And this scene was also witnessed by Leng Linger. She immediately shouted, "You pervert, let go of her." As soon as she finished speaking, Leng Qingqi also pulled her hand away from mine. I awkwardly waved my hand and said, Sorry, I just wanted to help you." Hearing this, Leng Qingqi said nothing. After all, she wouldn't be involved with him anymore. She exhaled softly and slowly felt for the braille document, beginning to read it. Time passed by, second by second. Leng Shen looked at the document, completely shocked. He suddenly raised his head and looked toward Leng Qingqi. opening his mouth to say something, but quickly suppressed his shock. He looked at me in disbelief. Leng Linger beside him had already finished reading the contents of the document. She slightly turned toward me and calmly asked, "What does this mean?" This document was not an engagement withdrawal document at all, but a transfer of 5% shares in the GU Group. You must understand, the GU Group is conservatively valued at 1 trillion yuan. The value of that 5% is self-evident for the Leng family right now. This is an enormous help. Hearing this, I looked at Leng Linger gently. "Linger, don't you understand yet? This is just a small token of my sincerity for this proposal. I own 10% of the group's shares, so I'm giving half of that to Miss Linger. After all, we'll be one family in the future." Hearing this, Leng Linger asked in shock. She stood up immediately, her tone no longer as calm as before. With disbelief in her voice, she asked, "Proposal? What do you mean? You're still proposing? Weren't you here to break off the engagement?" Leng Linger was completely stunned. She was blind. Why would he still want to propose to her? And even brought such a generous gift. At this point, I also stood up, my tone very sincere. "That's right. Marry me, Linger. I will treat you well for a lifetime." Leng Linger still felt like it wasn't real. So direct. But this wasn't a matter of forever or not. Her heart resisted. How could she possibly talk about love now? Marriage and all that, let alone, the GU family hadn't even made it onto her whitelist yet. Leng Linger was also stunned. "Young master, weren't you the shameless simp for Shen? Why are you chasing after my niece now?" Leng Linger thought the same thing. She immediately stood up and shouted at me, "You lying scumbag! You were just chasing after Miss Shen a while ago, weren't you? And now you're saying you love my sister, that you suddenly fell for her." Hearing this, Leng Linger found a reason to reject me. "Young Master GU, if you're just looking for a replacement for Shen, then I think we are not suitable." Seeing their reactions, I took a deep breath, looked up at Leng Linger, and even though she couldn't see, I still made a sincere expression and said, "You're not a replacement. Actually, ever since I found out that Grandpa arranged our childhood engagement, I started liking you, Miss Leng. But back then, you were a renowned talent of Jianghai, the #1 gifted woman, and I was just a guy who only had money and good looks, nothing more to offer. I felt unworthy of you. So I wanted to work hard to become someone worthy. But before that could happen, I heard the heartbreaking news that you'd lost your sight. Talking about this saddens me. I was deeply upset and full of guilt. I hated myself for not being by your side when you needed me the most. I couldn't face the truth. I felt I didn't deserve to be your husband, so I tried to numb my heart with other people. But every night before bed, the one I longed for was still you. It was always you." When Linger said this, I walked over to Leng Linger and reached out to hold his hand. His sincerity made me believe no matter how you change, I will love you. I'll treat you well for the rest of my life. At that moment, Leng Linger tried to pull his hand away from mine, but realized I was holding it tightly, and my tone was full of sincerity. It sounded like I really meant it. Leng Linger blushed as she listened. She stood up, opened her mouth, and scoffed, "TCH, who would believe such nonsense?" Leng Linger, on the other hand, was utterly stunned. He looked at me, sincere and serious. His heart trembled. Wait, is this guy for real? He swallowed hard and turned to the silent Leng Linger. Actually, no one knew one big secret, that the true power behind the Leng family was none other than his eldest niece, Leng Linger. Seconds passed like hours. Leng Linger finally spoke, clearly moved. Ming'er was stunned. "Sis, are you really saying yes?" Hearing that response, I finally let out a sigh of relief. The first step to avoiding my tragic fate had finally been taken. I held tightly onto Leng Linger's soft hand. "So excited. That's great, Linger. I swear I'll treat you well." Leng Linger remained silent. Of course, she didn't agree to truly become my wife. Instead, she thought, since I was so sincere and devoted, even willing to offer up company shares, then maybe she could use the GU Group to assist her. in finding the mastermind behind that incident years ago. Ji-yu Haoken, you probably never imagined that I actually had another motive toward you. Thinking of this, Ling Xingku curved her red lips in triumph, and I couldn't help but grin from ear to ear. Because the system alert was ringing like crazy in my head, points skyrocketing rapidly. I couldn't help but feel like I was floating on air. If I held Xingkuyu's hand for 24 hours straight, wouldn't I rack up thousands or even tens of thousands of points? Wouldn't I one day be able to clean out the system store? Leng Xingku, even though she already had some plans forming in her mind. But before that, young Master Ji-yu, can you let go of my hand first? I want to start reading. She spoke with a forced smile. Although she had agreed on the surface to be with Ji-yu Haoken, it was all just to use her. In her eyes, this rich young master was just a hopeless romantic fool, easily manipulated. So she wanted to avoid physical contact as much as possible. But to his surprise, after confirming the relationship, this shameless man refused to leave. He insisted on coming up to see what he usually does. It wouldn't look good to drive her away right after accepting the proposal, so she had to agree to let me into the study. Of course, during that time, I didn't stop touching her, all under the guise of I'm helping you since you can't see, just giving you a hand. When Leng Xingku told me to let go, I reluctantly released her hand, feeling my grip loosen. Leng Xingku finally relaxed a little. A sense of relief washed over her heart. She sat back in his usual seat, a stern look creeping onto her smiling face. Her mind quickly raced through future plans. Seeing that she said nothing, I softly called out to her, Leng Leng. Leng Xingku ignored me and kept thinking. First, take full advantage of Ji-yu Haoken's love and affection toward her. Then, step by step, seize the Ji-yu group, completely through her own means. Seeing no reaction, I called again, Ching Ching. Did you know? I miss you so much every day. Leng Xingku was speechless inside. She continued her planning, quietly building up her strength in the shadows, preparing to find the true culprit from the past. Still no response from her, so I called again. Kiyu Kiyu? Why are you ignoring me? I'm really sad. Damn this annoying man. Leng Xingkuyu's train of thought was completely disrupted by me. She turned toward the direction of the voice. Although she couldn't see, somehow, she could picture an extremely annoying face right next to her. And when I saw Leng Xingku finally turn her head toward me, my heart lifted with joy. Xingku, let me ask you something. Leng Leng, Ching Ching, Kiyu Kiyu. Which nickname do you like best? After asking, I blinked at Leng Xingku cutely. Even though I approached her for points and survival, I had to admit, Leng Xingkuyu's personality and looks really hit my soft spot hard. I couldn't help but want a pure romance with her. When Leng Xingku heard the question, she internally lost it. What kind of ridiculous nicknames are these? I don't like any of them. You'd better leave now. Seeing Leng Xingku still silent, I was puzzled why she wasn't answering. But in the next second, I suddenly understood. It all made sense to me. It must be that Leng Xingku didn't like any of those, so I tried another nickname. Xingku, how about I call you wifey or baby? The moment she heard that, Leng Xingkuyu's heart trembled slightly. She quickly turned her head away, not wanting me to see the change in her expression. Damn this annoying man. Spouting such cringe-worthy nonsense. Leng Xingkuyu's face flushed. Who even says such disgusting and cheesy things? I don't like any of those. Just call me Xingku. Hearing that, I let out a sigh of relief. She reacted so strongly earlier. I thought she was mad. But since she's staying in the study, it's hard for me to make a move. So I asked, all right then. Xingku, are you doing anything now? How about we go out for a walk? Hearing this, Leng Xingku felt a jolt inside. Ever since she destroyed her own eyes, she hadn't left the house. Her only focus was revenge. Going out would just be a waste of time. To her, time was the most precious thing. She immediately replied, no time. I'm very busy right now. I'm going to read. Please be quiet. Then she started reading her braille books right in front of me. Seeing this, I wasn't too disappointed. She's blind now. and also a future villain. Getting her to sincerely like and trust me now just isn't realistic. But there's still time. I've got plenty of it to increase her affection for me. Alright, I'll just sit here and watch you, Chinku. Chinku, you don't even know. Just seeing you makes my heart. Before I could finish, Leng Chinku suddenly turned her head fiercely toward me. I instantly got the message and obediently shut my mouth. I quietly sat by her side and watched her. Leng Chinku had a splitting headache. Why is this man so damn annoying? Time ticked on, second by second. I sat next to Leng Chinku flipping through books. Of course, I couldn't understand a single one. They were all in braille. After all, I watched Leng Chinku quietly using her fingers to trace the braille. Has she been living like this all these years? Absorbing knowledge, getting stronger, building power, until she became the final villain? That's actually impressive. No wonder she's the object of my pure love. Meanwhile, Leng Chinku realized she'd been reading for a long time, but hadn't heard a peep from Jiyu Heoken. She frowned in confusion. Could she have left? With that thought, she softly called, Jiyu Heoken? I was just about to answer, but my eyes shifted, and I smirked slightly, holding my breath. I stayed silent and slowly stood up, then quietly backed away, with no response from me. Leng Chinku thought I had left. A strange feeling rose in her heart. Why did that guy leave without saying anything? She shook her head. Maybe it was the fact that the once noisy room had suddenly gone quiet again. Leng Chinku found himself oddly unaccustomed to the silence. Her daily routine used to be simple: absorb knowledge and grow stronger. Now it had been rudely interrupted by a wifey baby learning session. Ooh, why was she even thinking about that? Leng Chinku's face turned slightly red, and for some reason, those cringy nicknames I said popped back into her mind. No. Calm down. Leng Chinku told herself. She really couldn't stand such mushy words. How the hell did Jiyu Heoken even say them out loud? Thinking this, she stood up and followed her usual walking path toward the bookshelf. But she miscalculated one thing. Because of my presence, a chair had been placed nearby. Without any awareness, Leng Chinku walked right toward it. And the next second, she tripped over something. She cried out instinctively as her body toppled forward. Unable to see, panic flooded her heart. Seeing this, I rushed over at full speed. Chinku, thud, we both fell to the floor. Leng Chinku landed right in my arms. I was about to shout dramatically, save my pure love. Falling bonus points +10. But then the system alert chimed, and I suddenly burst out laughing. Leng Chinku, who had braced for pain, froze in surprise. She'd been saved. That laugh, it was Jiyu Heoken? Leng Chinku seemed to realize something, connecting that laugh with what had happened. She slightly lifted her head, expressionless as she faced me. You stayed quiet on purpose, just to watch me fall? Realizing this, Leng Chinku got annoyed. So this guy wasn't some innocent romantic fool. She was enjoying watching her make a fool of herself. Okay, so that's what you're like, huh? I quickly tried to explain. No, Chinku, you've got it all wrong. Didn't you tell me not to talk? So I didn't dare say anything. But Leng Chinku didn't want to hear my clumsy excuses and started struggling to get up. Let go of me, you jerk. Let go, you bastard. I still wouldn't let go. Pleading, don't be like this, I feel terrible. Shut up. You just wanted to see me humiliated. Who cares how you feel? She pushed against my chest, trying to stand up. Just then, crash. Leng Linger burst in anxiously, sis. I heard a loud noise. Did that pervert Jiyu Heoken do something to you? But halfway through speaking, she fell silent. The scene in front of her was too suggestive. She saw her beloved big sister, always so graceful and composed, now pressing her hand against Jiyu Heoken's chest, with a pained expression on her face. Leng Chinku also heard the noise and turned her head slightly. Ling'er, is that you? Come help me. Leng Linger burst into a storm of tears on the spot. You still want me to help you? Sis, you've only been with this guy for half a day. How did things already get to this point? I slowly tilted my head in confusion. Leng Chinku did the same. What? Once she realized what he meant, she hurriedly explained to Leng Linger. After clearing up the misunderstanding, Leng Linger sat there in silence. But inside, she was freaking out, damn it. How did it come to this? All the authority and dignity I'd built up gone. Leng Linger pointed at me, her voice trembling with terrors. To prevent something like this from happening again, you're not allowed to be alone with my sister anymore. Looking at the teary-eyed little sister-in-law before me, I nodded helplessly. Okay, fine. I promise you. But inside, I couldn't help but chuckle. That's what she says. But the little sister will be off to school soon. And Chinku and I, well, we can snuggle all we want then. After leaving the Leng residence, I sat in my luxury car heading home, happily opening up the system shop. I saw the glowing score 60 points. That meant my love score with Leng Linger had already reached a new level. Quite a few levels, in fact. Meanwhile, in a nearby restaurant, Miss Z, heiress of the Z family, Z Baiwei, stared in disbelief at the silent woman beside her. Wait, are you saying that jerk Jiu Haoken hasn't contacted you in 3 whole days? The woman named Warner nodded quietly, getting that response. Miss Wu, sitting across from them, Wu Lily immediately frowned. She cursed angrily, scumbag. Just because Warner is focused on her career, he ditched her for not wanting to be his girlfriend. As a result, he showed a bad attitude to Warner. Such a petty man. As he spoke, he held Shen Warner's hand. He earnestly said, Warner, it's a good thing you didn't agree to be with that scumbag Jiu Haoken. Otherwise, who knows what he would have done to you. Shenner pursed her lips upon hearing this. Based on her understanding of him, how could he possibly show her a bad attitude? She hesitantly asked. How about I send him a message and ask what's going on? Shenner thought, could it be that what she said to reject him before had hurt his feelings? Maybe she should comfort him a little, just like she did in the past. It wasn't like this hadn't happened before. But as long as she called him first. Then the next day, Jiu Haoken would come running over eagerly to please her. Hearing this, Z Baiwei stopped Shen Warner just as she was about to send the message. Warner, that's where you're wrong. Haven't you realized Jiu Haoken, that scumbag, is playing a game with you? Shen Warner was stunned. What game? She looked at Z Baiwei in confusion and asked, Wei. What do you mean? Z Baiwei scoffed and said disdainfully, he's ignoring you on purpose, deliberately giving you the cold shoulder, to make you feel insecure. That scumbag is playing hard to get with you. His goal is to make you take the initiative to apologize. Wu Lily, sitting across from them, also nodded repeatedly. Warner, I advise you not to fall into his trap. Men's words are all lies. We excellent women must learn to distinguish truth from lies. Seeing both of her close friends saying this, Shen Warner began to waver and suddenly saw things clearly. So that's how it is. No wonder Jiu Haoken didn't come looking for her before. Then when she took the initiative to find him, he would be so happy. Turns out it was all just a tactic of playing hard to get. Thinking this, she decided not to bother with Jiu Haoken anymore. Let him amuse himself then. After a 30-minute drive, I arrived home. Unexpectedly, my parents had come home early for once. Seeing the table full of dishes, I asked them in surprise, what's the occasion today? Why so much food? My parents exchanged glances. Then my dad slowly said, Zhao Chun, I know you're disappointed, but it's okay. There are plenty of wealthy daughters in Jianghai. As long as you don't go back to Shenwan, everything else is negotiable. My mom comforted me while serving dishes. That's right, Zhao Chun. Just like your father said, there's no lack of flowers in the world. Why obsess over just one? Mom will find you someone even better. Like someone from the Bai family, Tong family, or Juge family. Your dad can handle it all. The more I listened, the more absurd it sounded. I quickly waved my hands. What are you guys talking about? I already proposed to Chinku. We're practically engaged. How can I possibly go after another woman? Dad hadn't reacted yet, and continued, yeah. Zhao Chun is only backing off because Leng Chinku is blind. That's why you felt disappointed and gave up. He froze mid-sentence when he heard proposal. Wait, proposal? Already engaged? Dad looked at me in disbelief. Mom's eyes went black and she nearly fainted. Son, you just sent away Shenwan. Now there's a blind one? You're really driving me crazy. I looked at my parents and gave a helpless smile. Just then, a familiar ringtone sounded. I took out my phone and saw. Suddenly I understood. It was the original host custom ringtone for Shenwan, set as a special attention alert. My parents immediately perked up. They looked at me with concern. although I said I didn't like Shenwan anymore. Who could say for sure if that was true? After all, their son hadn't gone to see Shenwan in 3 days. Warner. But now that Shenwan is calling proactively, they're honestly a little worried that their son is turning back into his old self. I calmly pressed the reject button right in front of them, then blocked and deleted her, a full cleanup. Don't look at me like that. I really have no interest in Shenner anymore. My dad was utterly shocked. Son, are you serious? I nodded and replied firmly, of course I am. Dad, Mom, I've truly changed this time. I'm ready to settle down with Chinku for real. I hope you too. Mom, Dad, won't look down on her just because she's blind. She's a good girl. What I said made them realize that I was serious this time. The way I looked was completely different from when I chased after Shen Warner. After a long silence, my dad burst into laughter. Ha ha ha. Do what you want. It's just an extra pair of chopsticks at the table anyway. Mom also nodded helplessly. Since Xiao Chun has already proposed, then so be it. I understood that my mom still couldn't fully accept it for now, but I was absolutely not going to give up on Leng Chingku. Thinking of this, I looked at her and said, "Thank you, Mom." Mom looked at me in disbelief. Her son actually said thank you? She instantly felt a warm current in her heart. Then I turned to Dad with a smile and said, "Thanks, Dad. I was immature before and caused you both a lot of trouble." Hearing this, Dad paused for a breath and quickly looked away. Cough. As long as you've changed, that's good. But inside, he was overjoyed. What kind of magical daughter-in-law is this? To make my son this polite? Just for that alone, he was ready to approve this daughter-in-law he hadn't even met. Meanwhile, at a restaurant elsewhere, the restaurant owner approached with a smile and the bill, and asked the girls with Shenner, "Hello. Ladies, you've been sitting here in silence for an hour now. Excuse me, would you like to settle the bill?" Though he was smiling, he was inwardly full of disdain. These three had come in hours ago and ordered a whole bunch of food. Once the dishes came, they just kept taking pictures. And when it came time to pay, every single one said they didn't have enough money. Zibaiwei and Wu Lily swallowed nervously. They asked in disbelief, "Warner, Jiu Heoken hung up on you?" Shen Warner's face looked a bit awkward as she stared at the disconnected call. "Maybe he's busy," she said. Then she looked up at her two close friends. "Did you two really not bring money when they were ordering the food?" Shen Warner had asked if they were ordering too much, but both of them said it was fine. They could eat it. In the end, they hardly ate anything. They were just taking pictures. When the bill came, it turned out to be 130,000 yuan. Because Zibaiwei wanted a good ambience for photos, she even opened a bottle of red wine worth 100,000 yuan. A 130,000 yuan meal, there was no way they could pay for that. So the two of them urged Shen wanted to call Jiu Heoken. Back in the past, if Jiu Heoken had known he was paying for Shen Warner's bill, he'd have been so happy he'd post about it on his social media. But to think this time he actually dared to hang up. Shenner glanced at the restaurant owner, who was starting to lose his patience. There was no way they'd get out of pain today. Left with no choice, Shen Warner dialed my number again. "The number you dialed is powered off." He turned off his phone just because I called him. He actually shut it off. Shen Warner's expression grew more embarrassed, and a sense of helplessness welled up in her heart. The boss nearby was already growing impatient. With no other options, Shenner opened the LV bag I had given her. She pulled out a small box from inside. She gazed reluctantly at the small box. It was a gift I had given her. When I confessed my feelings to her, she had only worn it a few times. She had planned to show it off in front of her friends. As she opened the box, a beautiful diamond ring was revealed inside. Wu Lily and Zibaiwei both stared in awe. Each of them swallowed hard. "Warner, this was a gift from Jiu Heoken." Both of them were filled with envy toward Shen Warner. After all, compared to Shen Warner, their looks and backgrounds weren't inferior. So, why was it that Jiu Heoken only liked Shen Warner? Shenner nodded, then handed the ring to the restaurant owner. She said reluctantly, "Sir, can I use this to pay?" The restaurant owner took it and looked. His eyes lit up instantly. "A Tiffany diamond ring. Miss, are you sure you want to use this ring as payment?" The owner was overjoyed inside. He had a sharp eye, after all. With one glance he could tell this ring was a custom piece, which meant it must be extremely expensive. Looks like the guy chasing this fake socialite has some serious wealth. He was willing to give her something like this. Right now, Shen had no other choice. Even though she managed her family's business, that was company money. She didn't have that kind of cash on her personally. To get out of this mess, she could only use the ring. She nodded. Can we leave now? Shen picked up her bag, her face a little grim. Today's events had already embarrassed her enough. And it was all because of Ji Haeoken. If he had just answered the phone and come to pay, she wouldn't have needed to give up her diamond ring. The restaurant owner nodded and said, "Of course, no problem. You're welcome anytime." Outside the restaurant, the two girlfriends started chatting again, all at once. Wow, Ji Haeoken is such a scumbag. That was way too much. He actually just hung up the call. Yeah, you really need to give him a piece of your mind. If he dares not answer today, next time he'll dare to curse at you directly. If you two were together, wouldn't he abuse you? Shen's expression grew darker the more he listened. He clenched his fist. He was feeling very upset too. He used to be available at her every call. But today, her behavior was something he couldn't quite get used to. He took a deep breath. "You're right," he said. "I won't bother with her anymore." The next morning, at the Leng family's gate, Leng Linger walked out, yawning and carrying a backpack, looking lifeless. So sleepy and tired. Why do I even have to go to school? After saying that, Leng Linger seemed to remember something. Her drowsiness vanished instantly. She looked around like she was searching for something, looking left and right. When she saw everything was as usual, she breathed a sigh of relief. Looks like that big pervert really listened to what I said. Then she rode off on her scooter, energetically in the direction of the school, and left. But not even a minute after Leng Linger left. Just then, a luxury car by the roadside slowly opened its door. My figure stepped out from inside. Looking at Leng Linger getting farther away, I raised my eyebrows slightly. The corners of my mouth lifted into a slight smile. What a foolish little brat. Then, like walking into my own home, I stepped through the Leng family gate. Inside the study, Leng Chinku was flipping through all kinds of books. Before becoming blind, she was the top prodigy of Jiang'ai City. Her intelligence, measured internationally, was a staggering 250 billion. Such an astounding number caused a global sensation. She even had a photographic memory. One could say, among those destined to stand at the top of the world, Leng Chinku was definitely one of them. So after Leng Chinku became blind, many people felt it was a pity, especially since there had been no news about her in recent years. Everyone assumed she had given up on herself and was prepared to live the rest of her life in solitude as a blind woman. But all of that was just a carefully crafted illusion. With enemies in the open, her goal was to remain hidden in the shadows, then use her natural gifts to continuously absorb knowledge from the world and control everything from behind the scenes. And after all these years of accumulating, she had already built up a rather powerful force in secret. She even uncovered part of the truth about what happened back then. Leng Chinku was deep in thought, and her temples began to ache from all the thinking. Whew, time for a break. Leng Chinku let out a breath. She leaned back slightly against the chair, tilting her head back a bit, trying to get herself into a more comfortable position. But what Leng Chinku didn't notice was that when she tilted her head back, I happened to be standing right behind her. I swallowed hard, looking at her with her head tilted up, her hair naturally falling to both sides. Her lips were red and soft, her breathing calm, her appearance stunning like a fairy. I couldn't help but get lost staring at her. Because the study door wasn't locked, I naturally just walked right in. Just as I was about to speak and scare Leng Chinku, she suddenly tilted her head up. I thought for sure I'd been discovered, but as I kept looking, I noticed that Leng Chinku looked a bit pale. Probably because of years of overwork and always being in a state of mental tension. Even though the original story never described how Leng Chinku grew up, after the Leng family was massacred, all responsibilities and hopes were placed on the genius Leng Chinku. She had to seek revenge and also protect herself before she fully matured. If her enemies came knocking, they'd wipe her out completely. So she worked hard to improve herself every day. Thinking of that, I couldn't help but feel sorry for her. She's about the same age as me, yet she's already carrying the burden of a fallen family. Over on Chinkuyu's side, she still hadn't noticed I was there. Her breathing paused slightly. She quickly sat up from the back of the chair and rubbed her temples with her hand, muttering to herself, "Almost went over my break time. Good thing I didn't." Just as she was about to get back to her reading, she suddenly felt a wave of comfort on both shoulders. It was a pair of big hands pressing down on them, using some incredibly high-level massage technique. Leng Linger was startled. Could it be her enemies had come for her? She was about to struggle to get up when a familiar voice rang out. "Linger, don't panic. It's me, your dear husband." I held onto her shoulders with one hand and explained that just now I used 10 points of true love credits to buy a divine massage technique. As for why it was so cheap, it was because the system was moved by the fact that I bought it for the sake of my true love, so it gave me a 0.0001 discount. Hearing the familiar voice, Leng Linger relaxed a little, but her voice still held some discontent. "TCH, whoever's husband you are, it has nothing to do with me. Let go of me. Stop disturbing my reading." But in her heart, she was secretly relieved it was just this fool. I kept smiling and said, "Baby planet, now that's just hurtful. Apart from being your beloved husband, who else could I be? Besides, I'm not disturbing you. Linger baby, your shoulders are way too stiff, so I'm just helping you relax a little." Right now, I reminded myself of one thing. You've got to have thick skin. Otherwise, how could I win over a beauty like Leng Linger, even if I looked like just another simp for her? But even a simp like me shines the brightest in the crowd, so I should be called a battle wolf. Leng Linger heard all those affectionate names I just called her, and her whole body broke out in goosebumps. Linger baby's exclusive massage technique. Her little heart pounded in both shame and annoyance. She gritted her teeth. You bastard. Don't call me that. Then what should I call you? Linger baby." As I spoke, I kept massaging Leng Linger's shoulders, not stopping for a second. At the same time, I was trying to change the subject. "Linger baby, your shoulders are so stiff. It's obvious you've been sitting at your desk, reading too long. Reading all those braille books will wear your body down eventually. So, you see, I'm focusing right here." Leng Linger realized I was trying to change the topic and immediately snapped back. "I told you not to call me Ching." But the next second, she let out a soft gasp. Leng Linger froze. A blush spread visibly across her face at lightning speed. She immediately covered her mouth with her hand. What was that? Why did I just make that kind of sound? Leng Linger's chest rose and fell slightly. Only now did she realize. With each movement of my hands, her previously cold body was gradually warming up. Her shoulders were starting to feel relaxed and comfortable. Leng Linger glanced backward slightly. She knew I was standing right there. "You actually know how to massage." Her tone was filled with disbelief. She wasn't even sure what kind of expression she had right now. Was it weird? But the technique I was using made her feel like she was floating on air. I looked at Leng Linger, her little face slightly red, though she herself most likely wasn't even aware of how she looked at that moment. So I quietly lowered my head, leaned close to her ear, and whispered, "Of course. Linger, now do you believe me? I learned this just for you." Leng Linger's heart wavered from Ji Haoken's warm breath. She quickly turned her head and sat up straight, her tone stiff. "Don't get so close to me. Our relationship isn't that intimate." Seeing that, I gave a slight smile and withdrew my hands from her shoulders. Noticing that the comfortable feeling suddenly disappeared, Leng Linger instinctively muttered, "Why do you stop?" But suddenly, she remembered that she was supposed to be using Ji Haoken. She couldn't appear weaker than her. So she let out a soft hum and straightened up again. "So, you finally know your place. Now go back already." But the next second, I reached out again and pulled Leng Linger back toward me. Then I chuckled softly. "Linger, don't be in such a rush. After shoulders, next is the scalp massage." Leng Linger pretended to struggle. "Let go. I don't want your hands on me." But I know when girls say no, they usually mean yes. So I just pressed harder. "Nope, I'm massaging whether you like it or not." Hearing that, Leng Linger stopped resisting. It was like she couldn't escape. So, she gave in on the spot. Meanwhile, he was sneering coldly in his heart. "Huh? Ji Haoken, I admit, your massage is kind of nice. But you've totally miscalculated. I'm only using you for the massage, to restore my mental and physical state. Then with a perfect comeback, I'll take down the GU family. Haha, and it'll all be thanks to you. Thinking and thinking, Leng Linger gradually relaxed and began to fully enjoy my massage. Even the corners of her mouth lifted slightly. Plus 5 points, massaging your true love target. Plus points, making your true love feel good. Bonus system points added. Seeing the increase, I couldn't stop the corners of my mouth from rising. Even the cold expression on Leng Linger's face showed a rare smile, like she was having a beautiful dream. It had been so long since she felt this way. She even dreamed of her mom and dad. In the dream, Leng Linger's brows suddenly furrowed. She abruptly sat up straight, holding her head. Her heart was filled with frustration. Damn it. How could I fall asleep? How could I let my guard down like that? What happened before I fell asleep? Leng Linger searched for her cane, while trying to recall what happened before she dozed off. Then she remembered. Jiu Haoken was giving her a massage. And somehow, during that massage, she actually fell asleep from comfort. How infuriating. I actually fell asleep because of that guy's lame massage. What a disgrace. Leng Linger gritted her teeth and cursed softly, her face full of resentment. Judging by the room temperature now, she could tell that it was already afternoon. She had wasted so much precious time sleeping. And just then, a cane was placed into Leng Linger's hand. A teasing voice followed. Hey. What's this about my massage being low level? Your beloved husband might take that personally, you know. Chinku, the fact that you slept so soundly just proves how good my massage skills are. Hearing that annoying man's voice, Leng Linger's expression turned cold again. She gripped the cane tightly and got up from the sofa bed. Then she turned her head toward the voice and said coldly, "Don't flatter yourself. I didn't fall asleep because of your massage. It's just because I was exhausted from staying up till late. Your massage skills are actually terrible." Seeing how her body relaxed but her mouth was still stubborn, I couldn't help but find it hilarious. After all, the system kept sending messages saying, "True love target is feeling happy." Plus more points, "True love passed out from comfort." And similar messages kept popping up. Of course, in real life, I wouldn't be some clueless straight guy, so I sighed dramatically. "Oh, so that's how it is. I really thought I had helped Shinku. Learning massage just for you. I thought it meant something." Hearing the disappointment in my tone, Leng Linger felt a strange pang of guilt rise inside her. After all, she had lied through her teeth, and she still planned to use the GU family. That's right, she only needed the GU family's power. So she couldn't let GU Haoken lose hope and walk away. So Leng Linger took a deep breath and said, "Well, it's not totally useless. It helped a little, I guess." After a moment's thought, she added mockingly, "But really, just a tiny bit. Don't go getting the wrong idea." Hearing that, I reached out excitedly and grabbed her hand. Then, "Chinku baby, how about I give you a massage every day from now on?" Feeling her delicate hand caught again, and hearing my sudden shift in tone, Leng Linger became flustered and annoyed. "Let me go. Who said you could keep touching me like that? And stop calling me those gross nicknames. It's disgusting." Leng Linger was starting to lose it. This so-called big simp of Shenhua City, the GU family's young master, really was incredibly annoying. I nodded rapidly. Yes. Chinku, you can call me whatever you want. After all, we're family, right? Leng Linger snapped. TCH. Who's family with ***? I smiled and said, "But didn't you agree to marry me?" She shot back. That was a childhood betrothal. I grinned. Childhood betrothal means we were basically an old married couple from birth, right? Leng Linger couldn't see. But if she could, she probably wouldn't be able to resist punching me. This guy spouting nonsense nonstop, and not a single word of it made any sense. So annoying. All for the sake of revenge. Looks like I'll have to endure it for a while. Thinking of this, Leng Linger took a deep breath. She forced herself to calm down. Fine, say whatever you want. So, can you go back now? It's already this late. Just after she said that, Leng Linger's complaining voice rang out. Sis. Ooh, I'm so mad. We just got back our math quizzes. I actually failed again. Is that teacher targeting me? Also, didn't NiceGamLii take a leave of absence? Who cooked for us then? Why do I smell food coming from the kitchen? Her voice got closer and closer until she reached the study, then suddenly stopped. I waved at her and said, "Welcome back." Leng Linger pointed at me. "You're here? Didn't you promise me you wouldn't be alone with my sister?" I looked confused and replied, "I'm just visiting my wife at home. Isn't that normal? What law says I can't be alone with my own wife?" Leng Xingku, standing nearby, slowly raised a brow. Expressionless, she looked at me. This man really has no shame. Leng Linger blushed. She looked at me, then at Leng Xingku, whose hand I was holding, and started to stammer. It kind of makes sense, but still not okay. Big sis is my family. You're my sister's husband. That makes me your sister-in-law. Which means we're all family. The more she thought, the more confused she got. So, she stopped thinking altogether. She pointed at me with her cute tiger tooth showing and threatened. "Anyway, you better leave now, or I'll let you feel the power of my taekwondo." Leng Xingku secretly smiled to herself. "That's Ling'er for you. Still taking your sister's side." I just shrugged indifferently. "I'm fine with leaving. But can either of you cook? I only made one dish today." Leng Xingku frowned. "What are you talking about? Cooking?" She suddenly paused mid-sentence. "Oh right? Yaji was stammering last night, saying something about taking a leave for a while. So at home, for now and probably for quite some time. It's just her and Ling'er." Leng Linger was also surprised. "So that aroma in the kitchen, you cooked it?" She looked at me curiously. "Even better than this young master." Of course, I didn't used to know how, but now I've got a system. I held Leng Xingkuyu's hand despite her look of distaste. She resisted a little, but seeing she couldn't shake free, she gave up. I spoke with emotion. I learned it especially for Chinku. From a long time ago, I had imagined the scene. "I'd cook for you at home. And when you came back from a hard day's work, I'd give you a massage. On weekends, we'd sip tea in the yard. Enjoy the flowers, maybe do a little outdoor barbecue." Then Leng Linger couldn't take it anymore. She directly, forcefully separated our hands, then glared at me and complained, "Hey, aren't you just saying you'll be the housewife and make my sister go out to earn money? Are you even a man?" Leng Xingku also found it a bit funny. This guy really is different from other men. Other guys try to impress girls by saying stuff like "I'll support you forever," but when it comes to Jiu Haoken, it's completely reversed. I curled my lips when I heard that, and looked at Leng Linger as if she were an idiot. Isn't that obvious? My Chinku is so talented. What would someone dumb like me do earning money? If a dummy like me goes out to earn money, I might end up losing the entire Jiu family fortune. So of course, it's best for my Chinku to take charge. Leng Linger was left speechless by my words. He was clearly praising my sister. But why does it still make me so mad? And another thing, you and Chinku just got together. It's only the second day, okay? Don't act like you're super close already, alright? Leng Xingku was also amused by what I said. A small smile tugged at the corners of her lips. But then she thought, if that jerk saw this, it wouldn't be good. So the smile that had just appeared was quickly forced down. Pure love target feels happy. Favorability +7. Hearing the system notification in my head, I was thrilled. Not bad, not bad. At this rate, my favorability with Leng Xingku is definitely going to skyrocket. Thinking that, I felt totally recharged. It's getting late. I'll go back to cooking. Xingku, you can read a bit first. I'll call you when I'm done. After saying that, I gently took Leng Xingkuyu's hand and led her softly to the desk. She was clearly not used to being treated like this. Her brows furrowed slightly. She resisted. I can walk on my own, thank you. Of course, I wouldn't miss a legitimate chance to have physical contact. So I righteously said, no way. It's one thing if I'm not around, but since I am, I can't let anything happen to you, Chinku. What if, like yesterday, you fall again? That'd be terrible. Let go of my hand. After saying that, she couldn't help but recall that embarrassing moment from yesterday. This bastard of a man. I led Leng Linger to the desk, then reluctantly let go of her hand. Okay. I'm letting go. I'll head downstairs now. Without waiting for Leng Linger's reaction, I quickly left the study. Leng Linger was so angry her chest was heaving. How can someone be this infuriating? What an annoying man, yet now he's downstairs cooking for us. A young master of the Jiu family, actually cooking in person. Leng Linger felt a strange emotion stir in her heart. This damn man not only gave her massages, he even lowered himself to cook for her and her sister. No, she couldn't think like this. Leng Linger took a deep breath, trying to calm her feelings down. All of this, it was Jiu Haoken who insisted on doing it himself. She never asked him to do it. That's right, she must not develop some silly sense of gratitude. Feelings are the greatest obstacle on the road to revenge. Leng Linger was nearby, noticing her big sister looked like she was deep in thought, her expression pained. She looked visibly upset. That damn Jiu Haoken, it's all your fault. My sister is suffering like this. I'm so mad I could explode. Even if you and my sister were betrothed as kids, even if you're technically my brother-in-law, even if all that is true. Leng Linger was just about to speak up, but was cut off by Leng Linger. Go help Jiu Haoken in the kitchen. So, he doesn't think everyone in the Leng family is just lazy and eats for free. Leng Linger was stunned. Her mouth fell open slightly. Meanwhile, in the kitchen, Jiu Haoken looked speechlessly to the side. Where a lifeless side, Leng Linger stirred eggshells into the beaten eggs in a bowl. So this is what you call helping me out. Hearing that, Leng Linger instantly got mad. She glared at me fiercely. It's because of people like you that my sister has changed. And then she suddenly burst into tears. Then, fuming, she raised her little fist and pounded them against my chest. How could I end up helping a man like you? I'm gonna punch you to death. The next second, her eyes widened a little. Because in her mouth, I had stuffed something inside. It was hot and kind of big. She started chewing on instinct. Suddenly, an unexpectedly delicious flavor exploded on her taste buds, filling her entire mouth. Leng Linger's eyes lit up. She looked at me in disbelief. Still chewing, she asked, What is this? It's so good. I pulled the chopsticks from her mouth and rinsed them under cold water. Without even looking back, I said, Spicy rabbit. Leng Linger nodded. Oh, so it's rabbit meat. Then she suddenly shouted, Rabbit. Leng Linger was stunned. She looked over in disbelief, only to see a perfectly plated spicy rabbit dish lying peacefully on the table. Her vision went dark. She nearly fainted. While washing dishes, Jiu Haoken looked over at Leng Linger with a mischievous grin. Hey, how's that, you brat? Pretty awesome, huh? Time passed slowly. Leng Linger seemed to be genuinely upset over eating rabbit. Feeling guilty, I told her she didn't have to help anymore. Instead, I told her to go sit in the living room and watch cartoons. Leng Linger sat cross-legged on the sofa, clearly sulking, watching a gangster-themed cartoon on TV. She hugged a giant fluffy white rabbit plushie and muttered at the screen, Jerk. Idiot, scum, trash. Bunny's so cute, and you actually eat bunny. Leng Linger's opinion of me hit a new low. Just then, a voice came from upstairs. I can walk on my own. Stop holding on to me. No way. Going downstairs isn't a joke. If I could, I'd carry you all the way down. No need to carry me. I'm not a child anymore. Jiu Haoken, don't be so dramatic. I smiled and replied seriously. Any unmarried woman is still a child. I firmly supported Leng Linger as she walked downstairs. She could even feel the warmth of my breath, inhaling the faint scent on my body. He's a man. So, why does he smell so good? No, seriously. Calling all unmarried women children? That's ridiculous. I'm the one truly running the Leng family, and he dares to treat me like a little kid. Leng Linger heard the voices and immediately panicked. She dropped her plush toy and ran out quickly. With just one glance, She saw me supporting her sister closely as we walked over. Instantly, her mood soured. Seeing her reaction, I pretended not to understand. Ling'er, why do you get upset every time you see your brother-in-law? Didn't I feed you well just now? It would have been fine if you hadn't mentioned it. As soon as it was brought up, Leng Linger got annoyed. He glared at me and spat. TCH, brother-in-law, you still dare to say that? I helplessly waved my hand. I don't know either. Ling'er, I can't believe you won't eat that stuff. Leng Linger said angrily. Girls don't eat that kind of thing, okay? Leng Shinku was a bit confused on the side. Wait, what are these two talking about? What do they mean by feeding and that stuff? Why don't I understand what they're saying? I waved my hand. All right, it's over. So let's not bring it up again. After saying that, I helped Leng Shinku sit down. Then I looked at Leng Linger, who was still standing. Don't stay all puffed up like that. Come on, let's eat. Leng Linger snorted and sat down too. At that moment, she finally noticed how rich the food on the table was. She was stunned for a moment. The table was filled with all kinds of delicious dishes. Colorful and vibrant, giving off an enticing aroma. You made all this. Leng Linger looked at me in disbelief. She had left halfway through, and didn't expect that I would have made so many dishes on my own. That tempting aroma filled her nose completely. She couldn't help it for a moment. Swallowing her saliva was only natural. I told you I learned this especially for Chinku. After answering Ling'er's question, I smiled and looked at Leng Shinku. The bowls, plates, and chopsticks were already prepared. I picked up a tender piece of roast duck from the plate and gently placed it into Leng Shinkuyu's bowl. Try this one. I guarantee it'll be your favorite tonight. My voice was gentle and affectionate. My eyes filled with warmth and love. Even though Leng Shinku couldn't see my expression, she could hear the sincerity in my tone. A ripple stirred in her heart. Is it good? You won't know until you try. Leng Shinku softly snorted, then picked up some roast chicken with her bowl and slowly brought it to her mouth. In that moment, the delicious flavor exploded on her tongue. She couldn't help but straighten her back slightly. Her breathing quickened a little. She couldn't help but feel a bit shocked. How could it be this tasty? It's so good, I want more. Seeing that, I quickly asked, how is it? Is it good? Then a system prompt appeared. True love interest finds the food delicious. Happiness points +1. Leng Shinku finally spoke. Her tone was calm, full. It's so-so, I guess. Barely edible. I saw through her but didn't expose her, smiling as I said, it's okay. There's plenty of delicious food today. I'll introduce them to you one by one. There's bound to be something you'll like. Leng Shinku was slightly stunned. She instinctively swallowed her saliva. Her tone was less stiff. Then I'll give it a try. After that, I continued to serve her food. While introducing each dish, I even shared the meaning behind each one. What it symbolizes. It filled Leng Shinkuyu's heart with surprise, delight, and realization. So this dish could be made like that, and this dish had that kind of story. There are so many beautiful things in this world. What is the sea of love? What does a pink sky look like? What is a talking maze? Will I ever get the chance to see these things? No, I can't think about things like that. I can't let these thoughts mess up my mind. Then my voice came through. Ling'er, don't just eat the bunny meat. Eat some vegetables too. Leng Linger glared at me and said, TCH, useless Gu Haoken. Who gave you permission to order me around? I looked at her with a smile though. Then I'll take it away. Didn't you say before that bunnies are so cute? You shouldn't eat them? Hearing that, Leng Linger shook her head. Wait. I'll eat some vegetables, okay? Just don't take the bunny away. Even though she couldn't see the scene on the table, just hearing the sounds, Leng Shinku could actually feel a sense of a warmth from a family she'd never felt before. Why did she feel this way? I considerately served Leng Shinku a bowl of chicken soup, then scooped a spoonful and brought it to her lips. Shinku, have some chicken soup. Your body has suffered from years of exhaustion. You need proper nourishment. Leng Shinku came back to her senses. I can drink it myself, she said with feigned annoyance. But still, she subconsciously leaned closer. Driven by her disobedient body, Leng Shinku felt ashamed. It was because I had kept feeding her earlier. That led her to instinctively react like that. Why is he treating me so well? Leng Xingku felt extremely conflicted and torn inside. At the moment, Jiyu Heoken seemed like a good person. According to Leng Shinan, the 5% shares of the Jiyu family gifted by Jiyu Heoken had already proven very useful. In just 2 days, many companies and corporations who heard the news started cozying up to them one by one, initiating cooperation. Everyone could see that the Jiyu family seemed to have reconnected with the Leng family, and many believed the Leng family was about to rise again. But because of this, Leng Xingku felt even more conflicted. She was supposed to seek revenge. She was supposed to use Jiyu Heoken and his Jiyu family. But when the day came that Jiyu Heoken learned the truth, how would he react? Would he be heartbroken or devastated? Did she really deserve the way Jiyu Heoken treated her? After dinner, I hummed a soft, unknown tune while washing the dishes in the kitchen. At the same time, I was cleaning up the plates. And right then, Leng Xingku happened to walk in. True love interest is affected by the host's singing. Felt a wave of warmth inside. Happiness points +1. I was humming halfway through when the system notification suddenly rang in my head. I paused for a moment. Just as I was about to turn my head, I heard a cold voice ring out. You have this kind of talent too. Hearing that, I nodded. I'm really happy being with you. Suddenly, inspiration struck me because my mind was full of thoughts about Xingku, even fantasizing about doing this and that with you. That's how this song came to be. Leng Xingku's face instantly turned red. TCH, what do you mean this and that? This and that? Do you even know how to talk? Alright, it's getting late. Let's hurry up and get to it. Leng Xingku let out a snort, then reached out her hand toward the sink. Seeing her movement, I immediately held her small hand. This is the dishwashing sink. It's dirty. Hearing that, Leng Xingku pulled her hand away from mine, then said speechlessly, this is my house. Of course I know where the sink is. Watching Leng Xingku help with the dishes, a warm feeling welled up in my heart. Then I turned on the other faucet. Alright. Xingku, you wash that side. I'll handle the bigger pots and bowls over here. Leng Xingku nodded, then hesitated slightly. She asked casually, you're not going to keep singing? Hearing that, I froze, then smiled. Xingku, if you like hearing it, I'll keep singing for you. Leng Xingku stubbornly replied, it's not like I really want to hear it. Sing if you want, up to you. Right after that, my newly unlocked god-level singing voice echoed in the kitchen again, because I was singing for Leng Xingku. The system was so moved that it gave me a discount. But what neither of us noticed was at the door. A girl was standing there, her expression slowly turning stiff. Leng Linger was watching me, glowing as if with special effects. They were talking and laughing again, even singing while washing dishes. It made her feel like she was just how could it end up like this? Leng Linger held her head and wailed silently. The sun had already set. At the gate of the Leng house, I softly said goodbye. It's getting late. I'll head back first. Hearing this, Leng Xingku nodded calmly. If you're going to cook that many dishes every time, maybe don't come. I chuckled. I know you're worried your hubby is working hard in the kitchen. Next time, I'll make fewer dishes. Leng Xingku was a little speechless. Hey, I didn't say that. I'm just concerned about the lifespan of our kitchen stove. After saying that, she turned and walked back inside. I happily shouted, Xingku, I'll come again tomorrow morning. In response, I got a calm voice. Whatever. The front door closed, but somewhere I couldn't see. As Leng Xingku walked away, the corners of her lips couldn't help but curl up, and at that moment, something jumped into her arms, followed by a wail. Sis, you've changed. Hearing Leng Linger's words, Leng Xingku gave a helpless smile. What's wrong, Ling'er? How have I changed? Hearing that, Leng Linger got even more upset. Sis, you have changed. Ever since that Jiyu Heoken showed up, you've been acting weird. All you see is Jiyu Heoken now. It's only been 2 days, and I already feel like I don't belong in this family anymore. Hearing that, Leng Xingku thought maybe it really was because of Jiyu Heoken that she'd been neglecting Ling'er. She sighed, thinking she really shouldn't have done that, then reached out to pat Ling'er's back gently. She comforted her softly. There. Big sister hasn't changed. It's just that for our Leng family to rise again, we need the Jiyu family's wealth and influence. That's the only reason why I put up with Jiyu Haoken, even though he disgusted me. So in the end, I've been forcing myself to talk to Jiyu Haoken. Hearing that, Leng Linger lifted her head. Her face lit up with joy. That's great, sis. I really thought you were falling for Jiyu Haoken. As long as you're not, that's good. That dog of a man may be kind of talented. He cooks well. And sings decently too. Comes from a good family and is kind of handsome. But thank goodness you didn't fall for him. Otherwise, Ling'er, wouldn't be able to stay in this house anymore. Leng Xingku helplessly patted Leng Linger. Don't overthink it, Ling'er. How can I possibly fall for Jiyu Haoken? And why would I kick you out because of that? Alright. Go take a shower, watch some TV, and get to bed. Even though Leng Linger got reassurance from her sister, she still nervously added, sis. You really must not fall for that loser, okay? Leng Xingku fell silent for a moment. Ling'er, he's your brother-in-law in name right now. You should show a bit more respect. And didn't you say you failed math? Come to the study after your shower. I'll tutor you tonight. Sis. Leng Linger was stunned. What just happened? After leaving the Leng household, I immediately started investigating this guy Zhao Ling. Because in the original novel, Zhao Ling is actually the male protagonist. He once trained on top of Dragon King Mountain, learning from a few old masters how to smirk sideways. And coming down the mountain was those elders' idea. Before he left, the elders gave Zhao Ling a jade pendant shaped like a dragon. That pendant symbolized his identity as the young master of Dragon King Hall. Dragon King Hall was a massive organization in the original story. Unfortunately, it was destroyed by Leng Xingku herself. Thinking about it made me smile. That's our Xingku, alright. Though I still don't know why Leng Xingku would destroy Dragon King Hall and target the protagonist group so relentlessly. At least for me, that's great news. In the previous life, Zhao Ling heard Shen complain so much about the original host that he tried to assassinate the original host on a night cable car ride. He even said, "You're asking for death." And later, he ambushed Leng Xingku too, which led to Leng Xingku dying in unwillingness in the end. Luckily, the story is still in its early stages right now. I still have enough time to set up precautions in advance. This time, I'm going to protect her properly. The next morning in the Leng household, Leng Linger was in her pajamas, grudgingly brushing her teeth in front of the sink. Just then, I walked past her, carrying a bag of groceries. Morning, Linger. Did you stay up late last night? You're a senior in high school now. You really shouldn't be pulling all-nighters reading romance novels. Leng Linger, still brushing her teeth, instinctively replied, "Morning, brother-in-law." Morning. As soon as she said it, she froze completely awake. She quickly turned her head to look, and caught sight of my back. Cooking. Jiyu Haoken. Leng Linger immediately abandoned her toothbrush and ran straight to the kitchen. Hey, loser Jiyu. What are you doing? While washing century eggs, I casually responded. Leng Linger. This little brat was so happy eating last night. And now she looks like she doesn't even want to see me. I pursed my lips, then turned back to prepping breakfast ingredients. We're having pork and century egg congee this morning. Hearing that, Leng Linger's eyes sparkled, and she happily nodded. As expected of a loser Jiyu who can do everything. Add more shredded pork to mine. I'm starving, even though she was the one who wanted to kick me out yesterday. I glanced sideways and said, "Got it. Now go brush your teeth and wash your face, brat. You still have foam on your lips. Can't you act a bit more like a proper girl?" Then I pulled out a tissue and handed it to Leng Linger. Leng Linger stared at the wet tissue in front of her, then looked up at me. She was momentarily stunned. Then she snatched it from me and said, flustered, "Who are you calling a brat? I'm already eating, okay? I'm an adult. Just you wait, loser Jiyu. I'm telling my sister." As she shouted, Leng Linger ran out of the kitchen. I could only shake my head helplessly. Suddenly, a scene flashed through my mind. Zusho collapsed in a pool of blood as a blindfolded girl came rushing from afar, terrified. "Sis, you used my heart meridian to mislead me. I knew you could have restored my sight. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have provoked them. I'm sorry, if I remember correctly." This was Leng Linger's ending. Wait a second, I gasped. I think I finally understand why Leng Xingku would become the ultimate final boss. If that's the case, then from now on for quite a while, I must keep my eyes on Leng Linger. Not for anything else, but to prevent such a future tragedy from happening. A tragedy. I want Leng Xingku to remain the final boss. But not through such a cruel twist. Not by sacrificing her family. No. I have to stop this tragedy from happening. With that thought, a glint of determination appeared in my eyes. So, just to be safe, I converted all my remaining points into upgrades for my close quarters combat skills. Just then, the system chimed in again. To save your sister-in-law and spare the true love interest from heartbreak. This, too, qualifies as an act of pure love. This system is very satisfied. Upstairs in the study, Leng Xingku was flipping through some books. Suddenly, she seemed to have heard something. The corners of her mouth curled slightly, but she quickly suppressed it. Then she turned her head to look toward the study's doorway and said flatly, "I don't recall inviting you here." Hearing that, the corners of my mouth lifted slightly. I don't know why, but hearing that cold tone from Xingku didn't discourage me at all. In fact, it made me even more hooked. So I stepped forward, squatted down, and reached out to gently fix Xingku's hair. "You didn't invite me, but I distinctly remember you said last night that I could come anytime I want Xingku. Besides, if I didn't come, who would make breakfast for you two? By the way, Xingku, how did you know it was me?" Leng Xingku noticed my movements, but she didn't resist. She just calmly said, "Whatever can also mean no." Although she wasn't annoyed by my visit, she even felt a bit happy about it. But she would never admit she was looking forward to it. As for how I knew it was you, it's because blind people's other senses are more sensitive. Hearing that, I praised her, as expected of our Xingku. "I can only say 2 words to you," Leng Xingku asked with a bit of confusion. "Which 2 words?" I looked at her and smiled. "Holy shit." Leng Xingku stood up speechlessly and reached out her hand. "Eggy bao. Let's go. Did you make century egg and lean pork congee?" This time I was a bit shocked. "You even knew that?" She raised the corners of her mouth slightly and said, "Yeah, I calculated it." I was a little skeptical. "No way, really?" Leng Xingku nodded. "Yeah." Ling'er ran up and told me. I was shocked again. "No way, Xingku, you can joke like that too." She slightly raised the corners of her mouth. Even though I couldn't see her expression, I bet it looked funny. Just as I was about to speak, I heard myself say, "So, our great Xingku wife, do you know what I want to do next?" Leng Xingku was slightly stunned, her mind spinning rapidly. "Do what?" Before she could finish, she felt both of her feet leave the ground. Clearly, she felt her legs and back being lifted. She realized Jiu Haoken had picked her up, and it wasn't a princess carry. Leng Xingku was forced into my arms. Her heart started racing wildly. She began to struggle. "What are you doing? Put me down now. What if Ling'er sees us?" And of course, I wouldn't let this chance slip by, so I hugged her even tighter and teased, "My dear Xingku wife, why are you so stingy? You won't even let me hug you. How are we supposed to have kids in the future?" As soon as Leng Xingku heard that, she got even more flustered. She raised her little pink fist and punched me in the chest. "You jerk. Let me go now. Who wants to have kids with you?" But the more she struggled, the more excited I got and refused to let go. "I'm going to carry you to the dining table." Just as I was about to carry her out of the room, I saw Leng Xingku lower her head. She didn't even want to speak, so I quickly put her down and started apologizing, blushing. "Xingku, I'm sorry. My bad. But the next second, Leng Xingku looked up, a hint of victory at the corner of her lips. She raised 2 fingers in a peace sign. "It's 2-1 now." 2-1. I was confused. Then I suddenly got it and shook my head helplessly. Hearing my laughter, Leng Xingku couldn't help but laugh too. "Now you know the cost of teasing me, huh?" Hearing that, I took Xingku's hand and said, Yes, I know. I'm scared of you now. Let's go." Leng Xingku pretended to struggle, but it only lasted half a second, and then she acted like she couldn't break free at all. She nodded. At the table, Leng Linger ate listlessly, because I was holding a spoon, feeding Leng Xingku bite by bite, all while whispering sweet nothings to her. "Xingku, does it taste good?" Leng Xingku replied with a serious face. Just so-so. It's delicious, but I just don't want to say it is. I nodded, all right. Then I'll make it for you again next time. When I said that, Leng Xingku was clearly unhappy. Does that mean you know I like it? She emphasized. So-so could also mean not tasty at all. I smiled and said, but I can clearly see you enjoy it. Leng Xingku huffed proudly. Hey, what illusion made you think I enjoyed it? Hearing that, I thought for a moment and laughed. Maybe it's because after every meal, you always lick your lips. Leng Xingku chuckled. What? I do that. Damn it, her ears turned slightly red in an instant. Then she raised her fist and lightly pounded Jiu Heoken's thigh. Go away, she said. Seeing this, I grabbed the hand that hit my leg. Haha, Xingku, I love you so much. Leng Xingku said in frustration. Don't say such cringy stuff while eating. At that moment, Leng Linger was gritting her teeth, biting her spoon in anger. Damn it. A mere nobody like him. How dare he do this? And that with my sister, right in front of me. Damn bastard. Leng Linger couldn't stand what she was seeing. Especially after last night, when she found out why her sister was pretending to be close with Jiu Heoken. It turns out the reason was for the Leng family. Everything was for their sake. Her noble sister endured humiliation to be close to Jiu Heoken, pretending to love him. Then one day, she would seize the opportunity to take over the Jiu family and restore the Leng family's glory. Her sister was truly pitiful. To think she made such sacrifices for the Leng family. Leng Linger felt like she wasn't even human. She clearly knew her sister hated Jiu Heoken, and that she was doing it all for the family. Yet she still had to endure humiliation in front of Jiu Heoken, forcing herself to compromise. But she could do nothing about it. She could only watch her sister being treated that way by Jiu Heoken, doing this, and that to her. Just thinking about it made Leng Linger's heart bleed. If she could take her sister's place and bear it all, she would be willing. I'm full. I'm heading to school. Leng Linger couldn't stand this heartbreaking scene before her eyes. So she held back her grief and left. At the dining table, hearing this, I turned and said to Leng Linger, wait, I'll take you to school later. Hearing that, Leng Linger and Leng Xingku were both stunned. Especially Leng Linger, she was clearly resistant. She scoffed proudly, I don't need you to take me. This lady will ride her Body King to school. Body King, that little scooter. As I approached, I saw at the Leng family's gate a parked, super flashy electric scooter decked out in decorations. Leng Linger proudly said, what scooter? That's Body King. I'm telling you, Body King can go up to 140 kilometers per hour. Impressive, I said seriously. That little scooter is dangerous, and modifying an electric bike without permission can get you fined, and even have the vehicle confiscated. I suggest you behave and ride with me to school. Leng Xingku also nodded in agreement after hearing this. With a blank face, she asked, Ling'er, didn't I arrange a driver for you? And lately, you've been riding that illegal electric bike to school. When Leng Linger heard her sister's tone, she panicked instantly. Oh no, I let it slip. Left with no choice, she had to confess. With her head down, her voice filled with grievance. Sis, I just wanted to save some money for the family, so I let the driver go. Hearing that from the side, I leaned over to Qingqui's ear and whispered, the money saved from firing him was used to modify Body King. Hearing that, Leng Linger immediately got flustered. She glared at me. Before she could speak, Leng Xingku turned to Leng Linger and said coldly, do you know how dangerous vehicle modifications are? I forbid you from riding that bike again. Then she turned to me and said, from now on, let your brother-in-law drive you to and from school. Leng Xingku was really about to be driven mad by Leng Linger. How could this kid be so disobedient? He went as far as firing the driver that had been hired especially for him. And he went and modified an electric bike to do something so dangerous, unbelievable. Looks like I've been too lenient with Leng Linger before. It's made him go astray. What if Linger starts hanging out with some bad people? What then? What if Linger dyes his hair blonde and starts wearing all kinds of strange clothes? What then? Just thinking about it made Leng Linger anxious. She instinctively grabbed Ji Haeoken's hand right. She could ask Ji Haeoken to keep an eye on Ling'er. Just as she was about to speak, I patted Leng Linger's hand. I glanced at Leng Linger. Blonde hair dyed, ears pierced, strange clothes on. Then I reassured Leng Linger. I'll help you keep an eye on Ling'er. Hearing that, Leng Linger finally sighed in relief. Then with a stern face, she turned to Leng Linger. This is final. You're not allowed to refuse. Leng Linger knew her sister was truly mad. She gave up resisting, lowered her head and muttered, "Fine." I found it very amusing. Turns out when it comes to handling brats like her, you need some bloodline suppression. Once outside, Leng Linger shook her little blonde hair, carrying her backpack, and walked beside me with an unhappy face. A Rolls-Royce was parked at the gate. Old Gao stood by the door, opened it, and respectfully said to Ji Haeoken and Leng Linger, "Young master, young miss." I nodded, then patted Leng Linger, who had her head down. "Come on, don't be upset. Your brother-in-law is just looking out for you. Modifying a vehicle is really dangerous. What if something happened to you, and your sister ended up crying every day?" Hearing that, Leng Linger also knew. She was definitely wrong for hiding things from her sister, but she just didn't want to admit she was wrong in front of me. So she snorted softly, "Who asked you to care?" Then she slammed her school bag against me. With a fierce expression, she said, "Carry this for me." I smiled helplessly. Okay. I'll do whatever our Ling'er says. PFFT, who's asterisk your asterisk Ling'er. Leng Linger's face froze. She hurriedly jumped into the car in a panic. "Damn you, Ji Haeoken, always spouting nonsense all day long." Once in the car, I said to Old Gao, head to Jianghai High School. After that, I leaned back in my seat and closed my eyes, starting to think about the plot ahead. First, I needed to confirm one thing. According to the original storyline, Leng Linger, Leng Linger, and I were all part of the villain faction. And coincidentally, there was a plot line in the original that involved Leng Linger and the protagonist group, and based on the story's timeline, it seems we're just about to reach that point in the plot. It was originally just a small arc to introduce Shen, the younger brother of Shen. But unexpectedly, the author was actually leading up to the younger sister of the main boss of the entire story, and that's what led to Leng Linger's tragic ending later on. This time, I won't let that happen. On the other side, Leng Linger was leaning on her face with her right hand and resting against the car door. Although her eyes were looking out the window, she was actually watching me from the corner of her eye. TCH, this useless guy, sleeping with her eyes closed this early in the morning. Oh right, now that I think about it, she came over early this morning, carrying groceries in her hands. She probably got up really early this morning. If it weren't for this car, I would have forgotten he's a top-tier GU family son-in-law. I really don't get it. Why would someone like him, a GU family heir, be willing to lower himself and come cook for us? Could it be that he really likes my sister? Leng Linger pursed her lips, her eyes flickering with uncertainty. Ji Haeoken truly does like her sister. But according to her sister, their final goal is to take over the GU family. But when the time comes, what will Ji Haeoken feel when he finds out the truth? She couldn't imagine it. When that moment arrives, when Ji Haeoken learns the truth, he'll be devastated, completely broken. No. Leng Linger took a deep breath, her gaze drifting uneasily. Anyway, he's the one who insisted on falling for my sister. Yeah, if he ends up losing the GU family, he deserves it. Leng Linger quietly convinced herself of this. Then my voice came through. Oh right. Ling'er, you like motorcycles, right? If you get into university this time, your brother-in-law will buy you one. How's that? I had finished thinking things through. The most urgent matter now was to raise my sister-in-law's opinion of me a bit. Otherwise, she probably wouldn't tell me anything about what she's up to outside, and that would be bad. Hearing that, Leng Linger was stunned. How did he know I like motorcycles? Seeing Leng Linger frozen, I teased her. What? Don't want the reward? Or are you saying you don't think you'll pass the entrance exam? Leng Linger finally snapped out of it. She turned her head in panic. Who says I won't pass? I'm just afraid you won't keep your promise when the time comes. I waved it off. Do I look like someone who'd care about a few bucks? even if you don't like anything from the market. You want a custom-designed motorcycle? No problem, I can have it delivered to you within a day. Hearing that, Leng Linger was trapped. In a state of extreme inner conflict. Sister, can't we use another way to deal with the Jiu family? My conscience is feeling uneasy, Leng Linger thought with deep frustration. Time passed slowly. The appearance of a Rolls-Royce at Jianghai High School immediately caught countless eyes. Wow, which rich kid transferred here? Oh my god, there's such a wealthy person in our rundown school. Countless students stopped to watch. Everyone started discussing. Right after that, I stepped out of the car. My elegant and easygoing aura, along with my striking appearance, instantly amazed the crowd and made them cheer with joy. Under the surprised gazes of the crowd, I walked to the side door of the car. Then I opened it and said something while lowering my head. Shortly after, Leng Linger got out of the car. With a proud expression, she snatched the backpack from my hand. Then she glared fiercely at me. Can you not be so flashy next time? After saying that, she quickly walked toward the school gate. I looked helplessly at her back, shrugged my shoulders. She was clearly very happy. Such an untruthful little girl. I smiled and waved at the crowd gathered around me, then returned to the car amidst waves of cheers. And as soon as I sat back in the car, the smile on my lips faded slightly and was replaced by a hint of coldness. Alright, from now on, it's time for me to crush the future storyline, right in its cradle. Inside the campus, Leng Linger's previously fierce expression turned into a dreamy and blissful look. Several classmates came over immediately. Ling'er, is that your boyfriend? When did you start dating someone? A girl exclaimed in an exaggerated tone. He's exactly like the prince in my dreams. Getting picked up in a luxury car. Feels just like being a princess. Leng Linger felt great hearing that, but also a bit embarrassed. So, she cleared her throat and pretended to be calm as she said, he's not my boyfriend. He just insisted on driving me this morning. The others looked even more envious and seemed ready to make a move. Ling'er, you're saying that handsome guy isn't your boyfriend? Then, does that mean we still have a chance? Upon hearing this, Leng Linger raised a silent question mark. Although Jiu Haoken isn't her boyfriend, who said you guys have a chance? And now this group of girls is thinking of ways to become Jiu Haoken's girlfriend. Leng Linger felt really uncomfortable inside. So she snorted and said, forget it, all of you. He's my brother-in-law. He and my sister are already married, and they're so in love with each other. So, don't even think about going after him. After saying that, she thought to herself, who would have thought that annoying guy would be so charming? Looks like I'll have to help my sister keep an eye on him more often. Can't let him mess around outside. Then a girl suggested, hey, I heard that Xiaowei's new boyfriend owns a KTV lounge. Should we go there to sing after school today? Xiaowei said, we friends could sing for free. She even said there'd be free fruit platters. The other students all raised their hands in agreement. As the leader of the group, Leng Linger naturally wouldn't object, but just before getting out of the car, Jiu Haoken had told her he'd come pick her up in the afternoon. What should she do? Forget it. Let's just play it by ear. Thinking that, Leng Linger nodded. Arriving in front of Xinghui KTV in Jianghai, I looked up at the luxurious and splendid KTV club in front of me. In my mind, a scene from the original novel surfaced. It was a plot the author wrote to introduce Shen Ma's younger brother. This plot was written by Shen Tian. His idea was, Leng Linger and her friends agreed to go sing at Xinghui KTV after school. But, when they arrived, they found that their close friend, who had invited them, was being force-fed alcohol by Shen Tian. When Ling'er and her group intervened, a fight broke out with Shen Tian. The situation escalated until the police arrived. Only then did both sides stop. Shen Wanner knew how her brother behaved, but she didn't want him to suffer. So, she went to the original protagonist and asked him to find those girls and have them apologize to her brother. But before the protagonist could find them, Shen Qian was found dead at home. His face had even been skinned. And a flashback. I took a light breath. I didn't know this before. But when I connected it to later events, I finally understood how Leng Linger's fate came to be. Because of Shen Qian's death, Shen Wanner spiraled into the brink of mental collapse. And right at that moment, the main protagonist Zhao Lin appeared. He stayed by Shen Wanner's side, and upon hearing about what happened to her, Zhao Lin was furious. He swore to find Shen Qian's killer and avenge him. Shen Qian was most likely killed because of Leng Qingku. And later, Leng Linger would die because Shen Wanner blamed Leng Linger for her brother's death. To avenge her friend, Zhao Lin ultimately decided to kill Leng Linger. In the original story, the author deliberately wrote a subplot between Leng Linger and Shen Qian, all to push Leng Qingku completely into darkness. But now that I'm here, this matter absolutely cannot be allowed to happen. And I already have a plan on how to keep everything under my control. Thinking that, I turned to old Gao beside me. Let's go. Old Gao. Yes, young master. With that, old Gao waved his hand toward the back and said, move. Follow the young master inside. The next second, dozens of men dressed in black suits stepped out of luxury cars and followed me into Xinghui KTV. Meanwhile, inside the lounge, a young man with a thin build had a face that looked drained by indulgence. In his arms was a girl who looked like a student, her face full of resistance and frowning. She never thought her new boyfriend would hand her over to a customer just for singing. The girl in Shen Qian's arms stood up and looked angrily at the KTV owner. So this is your girlfriend's attitude toward service? Hearing Shen Qian speak, the bar owner wiped the sweat off his forehead and looked at Xiao Wei. At that point, he didn't even care if she was really his new girlfriend or not. He stepped forward and pushed her back down. Xiao Wei, how could you be so ignorant? Make this gentleman happy. You can have whatever you want. Do you even know who Brother Tian is? He's the younger brother-in-law of the Jiu family heir. The bar owner glanced at Xiao Wei with disappointment. Did this woman not understand the value of the Jiu family? If Shen Qian goes back and says a few nice things to the Jiu family heir, they could turn their KTV business into a massive success in Jianghai. Shen Qian was clearly enjoying the flattery around him. He said smugly, did you hear that? I'm Jiu Heoken's brother-in-law. If you make me happy today, then whatever you want, I can give it to you. Shen Qian was originally just a street punk, but he happened to learn that the Jiu family heir was pursuing his older sister, so he often borrowed my name to act recklessly in public. Of course, he actually looked down on me, because in front of his sister, I always looked so humble and lowly. To him, I was proof that even a noble heir could be pathetic, and whenever he ran out of money, he'd come to me for it. Out of respect for Shen Wanner, I'd always give him 100,000 or even 1,000,000, enough for him to live lavishly for days. Upon hearing this, Xiao Wei lowered her head in despair, completely giving up. Seeing this scene, the others started cheering. Brother Tian is mighty, so domineering. I bet even the Jiu family heir would have to call him sir. Yeah, that Jiu heir is just our brother Tian's sister's lapdog. But the next second, the private room door was violently kicked open. Old Gao stepped inside. Everyone in the room was instantly stunned. Then a group of men in black flooded into the private room. The entire room was packed full of people. The people inside turned pale instantly. They knew they had provoked someone they shouldn't have. Shen Qian collapsed onto the sofa in fear. Trembling, he pleaded, wait. I'm Jiu Heoken's brother-in-law. You can't treat me like this. Old Gao sneered in contempt. You can say that to my young master yourself. In a bit, before Shen Qian's group could even react, the men in black rushed forward and pinned them all to the floor. Shen Qian was completely panicked. He never expected that Jiu Heoken's name would no longer protect him. What's going on? Why is this happening? In the past, whenever trouble came, just saying Jiu Heoken's name would solve everything. Old Gao respectfully called outside, young master, everything has been taken care of. Came a voice from outside. Then came the sound of approaching footsteps. Shen Qian felt the sound was oddly familiar. He looked up and saw someone slowly walking through the door, someone he knew all too well. Jiyu Heoken, Shen shouted in shock. These people are yours. After saying that, his face turned extremely ugly. He felt like he had been played. I walked in calmly, glancing casually at the people pinned to the ground. Then I fixed my gaze on Shen. I stepped forward, and under the shocked stares of everyone, I raised my foot in its leather sole and kicked Shen hard in the face. Shen cried out in pain, Jiyu Heoken. What the hell is this about? He stared at me in total disbelief. I answered in a calm and cold tone. What is this about? It means your good days are over. After saying that, I waved my hand. A subordinate stepped forward with the document. I placed the contract in front of Shen. This document recorded all the money I've lent you over the years. A total of 23.48 million. If you can't pay it back, then most likely, you'll be charged with major fraud and spend the rest of your life in prison. Also, you've used my name to commit crimes all over the place. All those crimes you committed are enough to land you in jail for a lifetime. Hearing this, Shen collapsed on the spot, his mind overwhelmed with disbelief. He panicked and shouted, What are you talking about, Jiyu Heoken? Wasn't that money given to me by you? I thought for a second, then said plainly, every time you asked for money, you called it a loan, and all the chat logs are saved. Shen was stunned. No way. Bro, you're so rich. When I said borrow, I was just being polite. Did you really expect me to pay it back? Besides, you're a rich second-generation heir, and you're seriously bringing up the law with someone like me. You're even thinking of involving the police. Can't you act with a bit more class? Have you ever seen a noble heir go running to the cops about legal matters? Thinking of that, Shen stammered, I don't have money. I nodded, then stood up and said, Oh, then go to jail. Shen immediately shouted anxiously, My sister has money. I'll get my sister to pay it back. Hearing that, I smiled inwardly, but kept a calm expression as I turned around. Coldly, I said, Within 3 days, have Shen bring the money herself. Otherwise, get ready to spend the rest of your life behind bars. Hearing that, Shen thought he understood what I meant. At the same time, he was overwhelmed with fear. These people from big families, none of them are easy to deal with. He really thought Jiyu Heoken was just his sister's lapdog. But now it seems, it was only because his sister kept refusing him that he eventually lost his patience. No. He had to get his sister and Jiyu Heoken together as soon as possible. He couldn't give up this comfortable life. Thinking that, he nodded repeatedly, Okay? I'll definitely have my sister go talk to Jiyu Heoken. I didn't say anything. I turned and walked toward the door. Old Gao, you handle things here. Yes, young master. Old Gao nodded. He then asked, Where are you heading next, young master? I waved my hand, leaving Old Gao with just a view of my back. My voice echoed behind me, to make lunch for Chinku. Leng family study, a place that should have only housed Leng Chinku. Now, had another person. A blindfolded woman kneeling on one knee. Master, according to our investigation, one of the murderers has been found. The blindfolded woman spoke respectfully. Upon hearing that, Leng Chinku suddenly stopped what he was doing. A flash of coldness crossed her brows. She abruptly stood up. A surge of uncontrollable killing intent rising from within. The book in her hand was slammed down hard by her, making a deep, muffled sound. She looked toward the blindfolded woman, her voice thick with killing intent. Tell me who it is. Leng Xingqi's heart was filled with murderous rage. I've been waiting impatiently for 5 years. The truth behind that massacre back then is finally starting to come to light, even though it's only one of the people who participated in the massacre. At least it shows she's one step closer to finding the real culprit. The blindfolded woman immediately lowered her head and replied, She is a member of an organization called the Death God. Her name is Lin Feng. Who is Lin Feng? And what kind of group is the Death God? Leng Xingqi took a deep breath, trying to calm herself down. The blindfolded woman understood the importance of this matter, so she had already investigated everything thoroughly. Reporting back, Master, when we found Lin Feng, she already had a family, and the real person behind it was in Jianghai. Hearing this, Leng Xingku forced her murderous intent to gradually cool down. Leng Xingkuyu's voice was low and full of killing intent. Shayi, find Lin Feng. Get all the useful information out of her. No matter what it takes. I want every bit of information she knows. Leng Xingkuyu's tone carried a chilling indifference. A terrifying pressure filled the entire study. A dreadful atmosphere. Meizu swallowed hard. Cold sweat rolled down her face. She quickly lowered her head and replied, yes, as her words fell. A dark shadow appeared beneath her feet, and Meizu slowly sank into the shadow. A moment later, Leng Xingku finally, gradually regained clarity from the killing intent. She came back to her senses. She took a deep breath. Her heart gradually calmed, filled with sorrow. Hey, who would have thought? The murderer from back then is now living freely. Mom, Dad, Grandpa, Grandma, I swear, I will find out the truth for you. I will avenge you. With the very dagger that scarred my eyes back then. Leng Xingku had just thought of it, when a dagger slowly emerged from her palm. On the blade were many ancient characters difficult to understand. This was the very dagger Leng Xingku had used to cut his own eyes back then. The moment it cut her, a flood of memories surged into Leng Xingkuyu's mind. The name of the dagger, Night Vision, was also the name of an ancient book. That book now existed within Leng Xingkuyu's mind. Not only did it enhance her memory, but it also greatly boosted her comprehension ability. It also revealed to her the existence in this world of a realm known as the Realm of Darkness. Thinking of this, Leng Xingku slowly touched her eyes and gently opened them. Unlike what people imagined a blind person to look like, Leng Xingkuyu's pupils had strange seals imprinted on them. It seemed as though they were specifically sealing Leng Xingkuyu's power. According to the memories in Leng Xingkuyu's mind, the power of this ancient book was incredibly strange. Absorb the night, understand the night, become the night. Only by enduring 5 full years of darkness can one be invincible when light returns at last. 5 years, huh? Leng Xingku murmured to herself. She closed her eyes. According to the ancient book, she only needed to endure 5 years of darkness. Then, when her sight returned at last, she would break through human limitations and become an unmatched existence. Before that, she was just an ordinary person. But thankfully, the memories in her mind gave her tremendous help. They also allowed her to inherit a power called Night. This group recognizes the dagger, not the person. Whoever possesses the dagger is the master of this power. All these years, Leng Xingku relied heavily on the Night organization. It was how he gathered so much useful information. Leng Xingku put the dagger away and exhaled deeply. Learning this news from Meizu so suddenly, it really stirred her up a bit too much. Leng Xingku, oh Leng Xingku, you'll have to face even more enemies later on. You must remain calm, more and more composed. With that in mind, Leng Xingku looked for her cane. If her timing was correct, it should be around noon by now. Ling'er wasn't around, then she might as well grab something simple to eat. And just at that moment, before she found the cane, a strong, firm yet warm hand grasped her. Then, a voice that startled Leng Xingku rang out. Xingku, what are you thinking about? Why are you just standing at the window in a daze? I held Leng Xingkuyu's hand, puzzled. Leng Xingku, however, remained silent. When did Jiyu Heioken arrive? What did she hear? What did she see? No, Leng Xingku felt conflicted inside. The dagger was her biggest secret, and the key to finding the real killer. She couldn't take the gamble of whether Jiyu Heioken had seen the dagger and pretended not to. Nor could she gamble on whether the Jiyu family was involved in that incident. If Jiyu Heioken. Leng Xingkuyu's breathing rhythm changed slightly. Her heart fell into turmoil. Even if he was just an ordinary man now, the dagger's power was immensely destructive. It could be unleashed in the span of a single breath. Yet I curiously placed the back of my hand on Leng Xingkuyu's forehead, feeling for temperature. No fever. Leng Xingku seemed to make a firm decision in her heart. At such close range, she could definitely strike and kill in one blow, then have Meizu clean up the corpse. If I'm going to do this, I must eliminate all potential risks. Thinking of that, Leng Xingku slightly raised her hand. I nodded and said with concern, "You're worried about Ling'er, right? Don't worry, he's fine. I got him to school safely. Not only did I take him back to school, I even rewrote the plot of the future. By the way, Xingku, what do you want for lunch today?" My endless chatter reached Leng Xingku's ears. For some reason, why couldn't I do it? Damn it, Leng Xingku gave up. I also noticed that something was off with him. I started to panic a little. No way. Did I do something wrong? Leng Xingku said with a blank expression. Do you know you're really annoying? Hearing that, I laughed. Obviously. Xingku, you're so cute and pretty. I'd love to bother you every day. Non-stop. Leng Xingku let out a laugh in her heart. But on the surface, she just scoffed, as if I care about you. I chuckled. You don't have to care. As long as I care about you, Xingku. I saw Leng Xingku frown slightly, and couldn't help but grin. Inside, I was even more excited. No more teasing. What do you want for lunch today? No bragging, I can cook anything. Leng Xingku was hungry, but couldn't bring herself to admit it. So she said, I don't want to eat. I was just planning to casually grab something to eat anyway. You, young Master Jiu, don't lower yourself to cooking for me like a servant. As soon as she said that, I got the hint. How can Xingku just casually eat something? That's really bad for your health. Alright then, let's just whip up a couple of simple dishes. Leng Xingku agreed, but still made a snarky comment. Do whatever you want. After lunch, I sat next to Leng Xingku with ease. Xingku, the weather's so nice today. How about going for a walk? Leng Xingku shook her head. No. Time is already tight. You still want me to waste it going out? What a joke. I didn't get discouraged. Come on, wifey. Even when you're working hard, you need a proper balance. If you ask me, Xingku, you're just too shy. That's why you don't want to go out, right? Leng Xingku felt like a fly was buzzing nonstop around her ears. She covered her ears and shouted, Stop, stop, stop. Go away, go away. I held Leng Xingku's hand as we walked down the garden path. I could feel. Leng Xingku seemed to be reminiscing about something. Xingku, your garden is actually really beautiful. The greenery is planted just perfectly. Hearing that, Leng Xingku snapped back to reality. Yes, I know it must be beautiful, because it was my father's favorite garden when he was alive. Saying that, Leng Xingku's mood sank a little. I took a deep breath, not knowing how to comfort him in that moment. Leng Xingku also sensed it. This has nothing to do with you. After all, my father's death wasn't your fault. Even though mostly, I can be sure you had nothing to do with what happened back then. Who can guarantee the Jiu family wasn't involved? That's exactly what Leng Xingku was afraid of. That's why he's always kept a distance from me. I heard the change in Leng Xingku's tone. Xingku, please believe me. I will always protect you. I won't let anyone hurt you again. Leng Xingku smiled faintly. Protect her? There are far too many things in this world I don't know. Jiu Heoken, the motivational sword dancer, is just an ordinary person. How could he possibly stay with him until the end? Leng Xingku decided not to think anymore. Protection isn't something you say, it's something you do. But still, it's nice that you have the will to protect me. Leng Xingku reached out and touched my cheek. A faint smile curled at her lips. In any case, thank you. In that moment, time in the garden stood still. I froze up completely. Oh, I think I've fallen in love. This time, I might really be in love with Leng Xingku. And Leng Xingku, who was usually calm, her face flushed ever so slightly. How embarrassing. How could I say something so petty? No. I need to get back to the study right away. Leng Xingku had just thought about asking me to take him to the study, when my voice called out to him, Xingku. I got inspiration again. Leng Xingku froze. Inspiration? What now? Boss, I just came up with another song in my head. Xingku, do you want to hear it? Those words sparked some curiosity in Leng Xingku's heart. Another song? Just now? Leng Xingku didn't quite believe it. But since the other person was excited, she didn't have the heart to interrupt. Then sing it. But once you're done, I'm going back to the study to read. I nodded in agreement. All right. Leng Linger could only go along with it for now. The next second, a voice trembled her heart as I began to sing. I heard the raindrops fall on the grassy field. I heard the distant school bell ring. But I didn't hear your voice, seriously, calling out my name. When I fell in love with you, I didn't understand love. Only after parting did I feel how deep it was. Leng Linger clutched her chest. This song was about love between a man and a woman. And it hit her in one go. I stepped forward and took Leng Linger's hand. Chinku, I love you. I don't want to leave you. Please let me protect you for the rest of your life, okay? Leng Linger came back to her senses and sighed no. I was dumbfounded. Then Leng Linger said indifferently, you're too weak. Let me be the one to protect you. Being my man might get you killed quickly. Leng Linger wasn't joking when she said that. After all, she was still burdened by deep hatred and vengeance. Hearing her words, I was actually thrilled. Chinku, are you sane? Leng Linger slightly furrowed her brows. I don't know. You figure it out. I immediately jogged after her and clung to her side. Hey, Chinku, I was wrong, Chinku. Inside the CEO's office at Tianye Pharmaceuticals, Shen was feeling very unhappy lately. Her personal secretary, Zhang Qing, stood nervously with her head lowered. President Shen, we don't know what's going on. All the companies that used to work with us suddenly canceled their orders and withdrew their investments. Right now, our company's production workshop has already been shut down. If we don't find new partners, Shen grew more and more agitated as she listened. How could this happen? Why is this happening? Zhang Qing's words were like silver needles, piercing her heart. Shen was incredibly anxious. What should she do? Zhang Qing said angrily, President Shen, those business owners are just too despicable. It's like they all planned this together. They all canceled their orders. Shen replayed those words in her mind. Suddenly, her expression froze. If these people suddenly all canceled their orders at once, then there could only be one reason. Shen's face darkened. Good, very good. Well played, Jiu Haoken. So, you really are that ruthless, huh? Shen then pulled out her phone and opened her contacts. She scrolled to a name, Jiu Haoken. She dialed his number. But on the other end came, sorry. The number you dialed is powered off. Shen's face changed. She looked at her phone in disbelief. It's definitely the right number. How could this be? Could it be Shen suddenly thought of a possibility? But no way. That's impossible, no way. She quickly opened her chat window on her phone. Jiu Haoken, are you there? But then something stunned Shen. A red exclamation mark appeared. He had blocked her. A wave of grievance welled up in Shen's heart. Why? Why would he block me? Shen rushed out of the office to look for me. The time moved into the afternoon. I felt like the gap between me and Leng Linger had lessened quite a bit. A faint smile appeared at the corner of my lips, although at first I approached Leng Linger just to avoid a tragic ending. But now, I realized I might have fallen for this hidden gem. Moments later, young master, we've arrived. I looked out the window. Students were going in and out, but no sign of Leng Linger. 10 minutes passed. I frowned slightly. What's going on? What is that kid doing? Knock knock, someone tapped on the window outside. I rolled the window down. A young and unfamiliar face appeared. Hi, are you here to pick up Leng Linger? Hearing that, I looked at him. Yes, but how did you know? The boy's eyes shifted a little. Well, I saw you drop him off this morning. And I'm also in the same class as Leng Linger. He took the afternoon off today. He probably went to sing karaoke. Hearing that, it clicked. That kid followed the plot again and went singing. But now that event had already been neutralized by me ahead of time, so most likely nothing bad would happen to Leng Linger and the others. Alright, thank you. With that thought, I smiled and nodded. Let's go, Lao Gao. Head to the city. At that moment in the city, Leng Linger and the others had just arrived downtown. He turned in confusion to the girl behind him. Zhao Wei, what's wrong? Where's that free KTV you mentioned? That was exactly what the others were wondering too. Yeah, Zhao Wei, where's your boyfriend? They all seemed to sense that something had happened to Zhao Wei. A hint of hesitation appeared in Zhao Wei's eyes. Should she tell them? But if she said it out loud? What if Ling'er and the others went to look for that Shen Tian? So Zhao Wei quickly shook her head. Sorry. My boyfriend and I broke up. So the KTV plan is off. Upon hearing that, Leng Linger and the others were stunned. Everyone started trying to comfort her. Leng Linger hadn't expected that Zhao Wei would break up either. Well then, let's just find any karaoke place. We'll sing till we drop. Ling Xiao KTV. Shen Qian, with his face wrapped in gauze, was drinking in silence. At the same time, at the front desk of the KTV, Leng Linger and the others all looked a little uneasy. As they walked toward the private room,